Seago. I'm editor of Aesthetic Medicine, and I'm joined by Kerry Belber. Kerry is a laser esthetician and owner of Laser Solutions in Bournemouth. So this session is sponsored by Linton, I'm very pleased to say. Kerry is going to be talking to us today all about creating your own bespoke light-based facials in clinic. So incorporating technology such as laser, IPL and LED. So Kerry, welcome. Thank you for joining me.
Hi, Georgia. Thanks for having me on.
I will let you, so Kerry's going to be sharing a presentation. Just as a couple more people join, Kerry, maybe if you want to kind of get that ready to go. And then what we'll do with questions for everyone watching, if you do have any questions for Kerry, please do pop them. If you're watching on Zoom, please do pop them in the chat or the Q&A box. And if you're watching on Facebook, please just comment underneath the video and I will have them kind of fed through to me. I'll pop back on at the end and we will have some time for a Q&A. So over to you, Kerry.
Thank you. Hi, guys. Thank you for joining today. So I'm going to be talking about how you can create bespoke light-based facials. So a little bit about myself, for those of you who don't know me. My name is Kerry Belber. I am a laser practitioner. I've been basically lasering for about 17 years, and I have a clinic based in Bournemouth. And I have about 12 different lasers, IPLs, LEDs, and a body contouring device as well. So I do a lot of skin rejuvenation. And today I'm going to be talking to you about how you can also create some bespoke light-based facials. So I'm just trying to go on to the next screen. Lovely. So I'm also level 4 and level 5 laser qualified, and anyone who is either lasering at the moment or thinking about getting into lasering, I would really urge you to get yourself some actual qualifications, so Ofqual registered qualifications, and Linton has a fantastic training academy in Manchester for that. I'm also an executive board member of the British Medical Laser Association, so all you aesthetic laser practitioners out there, you can join the BMLA. It's a fantastic organisation, and I'll talk a little bit more about that as well a bit later. And I'm a freelance trainer and a key opinion leader for Linton Lasers, and I also write articles for the amazing Aesthetic Medicine magazine. So that's a little bit about myself. So who is the talk aimed at? Basically, anyone in the aesthetics industry who is currently offering facials or skin rejuvenation. You may or may not be working with energy-based devices at the moment. You may just be doing injectables and or skincare, or you might actually be working with devices, but you'd like to expand. Or you might just be working with a device that supposedly is able to get you these amazing before and after pictures that you're seeing other clinics being able to produce, but it may just not be quite delivering the results that you were hoping for. So what are light-based facials? So basically, they are skin rejuvenation treatments using energy-based devices like lasers, ILS, so intense light sources, more commonly known as IPLs, and LEDs. It's worth noting, actually, I've seen a lot on the internet at the moment about BBL, and that supposedly it's the latest, it's an advanced IPL, it's better than IPL. BBL is broadband light, so it is exactly, which is essentially exactly what IPL is. So it's basically many different wavelengths as opposed to laser, which is a single wavelength, single color. So BBL and IPL are exactly the same. The key is how the energy is delivered into the skin and the control that you have over the delivery of that energy as to what it's going to do in the skin. So I'm going to be talking to you today about sort of various different devices, but when it comes to IPL, you really want an IPL that's going to be able to deliver certain pulses and delays to get that rejuvenation effect. So, excuse me. So applying different wavelengths, i.e. colours of light. So when we're talking about wavelengths, we're really talking about different colours, okay? So when you apply different colours onto the skin of light, you create different reactions on a cellular level. So skin, the way I always explain it, that skin is like every other living organism, it responds to light. So, when you put a plant in a window, it literally will turn towards the light. And as soon as that light hits a plant's leaves, there is a These are biological reactions that occur in the plant. And that's exactly the same with your skin, okay? So as soon as certain lights hit your skin, there is a cascade of biological reactions that occur. And this is what's going to enable you to, whether it's to, sort of coagulate a vessel or get rid of a sunspot, it's because of these colors of light that are applied to the skin that create the reactions that you want. So if you have the right lasers, IPLs and LEDs, you can literally tailor your facials to whatever your client's skin concerns are. So just a little bit of history about how these came about. So you might be thinking, well, facials have been like going on forever. And indeed in the 80s, because I'm old enough to remember, a facial was basically like a cleanse and a steam and a moisturize. But these light-based facials came about because kind of off the back of normal sort of laser and IPL treatments. So in this slide, you'll see a photograph of a client of mine whom I treated in 2006. And she just came in for thread veins, just bog standard, clear the broken vessels on my skin. Now, I don't know how well you can see from this before and after photo on the slide, but when we were looking at her before and after photograph of the vessels that had been cleared, it became hugely apparent that her entire skin had been completely transformed. So the texture of her skin, the pores had shrunk, the overall texture had improved, the vessels had cleared, and her skin felt and looked plumper. And I remember her saying, my skin just looks amazing. And she wasn't just talking about the vessels. So in these early phases, light-based facials, back in 2006, I was doing something called CFT, which was combined facial therapy. And basically I would be doing a peel 1 week, and then someone would come back in the next week and come in for collagen boosting. So off the back of, seeing hundreds of before and after photos, people have come to realize that actually there's a lot more to just applying wavelengths to skin just to clear a vessel, for example. There are other things that come into play. So as I was saying before, how do they differ? How do light-based facials differ from traditional facials? Well, basically, when you're doing a traditional facial, it's more or less a cleanse, steam, moisturize, nice products or serums being put into the skin. But if you want to really reverse the signs of aging, you need an energy-based device to do that, like an IPL or a laser, because with those devices you can treat acne really, really effectively. You can treat pigmentation, certain types of pigmentation, red veins, inflammatory skin conditions, texture, lines and wrinkles, and also acne scarring. Acne scarring treatments are just amazing. They are life-changing, and you simply cannot deliver these kinds of results without, not only without light-based devices, but without the right kind of energy-based devices that you're able to tweak in terms of how the energy is delivered onto the skin. So this webinar, what I want to leave you with today is to walk away just sort of understanding a little bit more about what these light-based facials are and how you can apply them in your own setting. So first and foremost, you need the right, I refer to my lasers and IPLs and LEDs as light tools. So you have to have the right light tools in your toolbox to be able to deliver these results. So in my clinic, I have a whole array of light tools, and when someone comes in, I assess them and I match the wavelengths, so i.e. the colors of light on these devices, to the skin concern. So as I mentioned before, different wavelengths produce different colors of light, okay? And they just basically do different things for you. So being able to accurately assess, what your client's skin issues are, and then matching it to the technology, you've then got, your answer to your client's problems. Because essentially, as estheticians, we are problem solvers. People come to us with problems, and if you're able to solve those problems with the right based energy devices, then you never really have to sell anything. You are there to help people solve their skin issues. Training is absolutely key. No one was born a laser expert, no one was born a skin expert, no one was born an esthetician. You are only ever as good as your training. And so when you come to choosing your light-based devices, you want to choose it from someone who is also, you know, someone like Linton, who are going to be able to train you in how to, just how to use the machine, but also how to get those amazing results and to be able to tailor the treatments to your clients. So I wanted to show you quickly a picture of a light-based facial. So this is a client of mine who came in. You can see that there's quite a stark sort of, you know, before and after picture there. Now, you just would not, you know, with injectables and or products, you couldn't really get these kinds of results. I know there are certain products out there that work well on pigmentation, and that would just be pigmentation. But when you're using energy-based devices like lasers and IPLs, you are changing the quality. You're not just removing a sunspot or, you know, plumping up a wrinkle with filler, etc. You are literally changing the overall health of the skin. And that's what I want to get across today as well, is that, you know, it's a bit like skin gym. You know, when you go to the gym, you're exercising the muscles. When you go to a laser clinic, you are literally transforming the skin and making it a healthier version of itself. Now, people often say to me, can you just make my skin look amazing? And I often say to them, what I'm actually doing is I am improving the overall health of your skin. And off the back of that, your skin will look fantastic. So this treatment was used, was performed rather, using a triacid peel. So this is a triacid peel from Linton, which uses glycolic, malic, and tartaric acid. And the great thing now, as advances have been made, is that whereas before, you know, I would do a peel a week before, and then someone would come in a week later and have a laser treatment, this has been specifically devised to be able to be used before a light-based treatment, which is brilliant because you get the client in, you do the peel, and then you get straight into your laser and IPL treatments. So how do you create bespoke light-based facials? So obviously you need the right equipment, okay? But it's also about knowing your wavelengths. You know, if you know how different colors of light interact with the skin, then you're going to be able to create the results that you want. So just a brief overview. So blue light at around sort of 400 nanometers basically kills the bacteria that causes acne. Red light, so from around sort of 600 to 750 nanometers. So wavelengths are measured in nanometers for those of you who are not currently working with lasers. And different nanometers produce different colors of light. Now, red light stimulates fibroblast activity, and it also increases collagen. So near infrared, at around sort of 830 nanometers onwards, has really advanced anti-aging effects, okay? It really tightens and firms the skin. And the thing I love about it as well is it has a really powerful anti-inflammatory effect. So a lot of skin conditions in general, apart from the obvious inflammatory skin conditions, are actually caused by inflammation in the skin, okay? So if you have a light that decreases inflammatory responses in the skin, then you're going to get such, you know, amazing results, and you're going to get a very happy client. So fractionally ablative lasers, and they do need to be ablative, not just fractional lasers, target water in the skin, which really cause fantastic resurfacing. So when you're getting that pitted acne scarring, you really want a fractionally ablative laser like my Resurface laser, which is a Linton handpiece. So basically knowing your wavelengths, your colors of light, and how they interact with the skin is key to creating bespoke laser facials. So you're literally matching a wavelength to your skin concern, which of course will be provided all in your training. So I'm going to take you through, I thought it'd be sort of helpful as well as quite fun to go through sort of 3 different client scenarios and what I would do with those clients. So basically this client who came to me, she was 28 years old. She had a bit of live acne. She also had pitted acne scarring, as you can see. And what I would recommend for her is to obviously treat the active acne first, because there's no point going straight into, you know, sort of laser resurfacing if you're still getting the live acne, which is causing the problem in the first place. So I would deal with that first by doing sort of an Illumi facial. So the Illumi facial is a Linton laser treatment, which combines a triacid peel and with laser treatment. So you do a triacid peel first, and then you go once over with a 650 nanometer IPL. It's worth noting that when you're dealing with IPL, you're getting a bit of all the wavelengths, which is basically it's broadband light, like the BBL that's being talked about a lot at the moment. So you're getting, a lot is concentrated around the 650 mark, but you're getting all of that up to sort of the near infrared lights. So basically you're doing a triacid peel, you're doing a once over with the 650 handpiece, which is going to boost your collagen. And then you go over with a 585 nanometer handpiece, which is going to pick up sort of any vessels. It's going to kill bacteria on the skin that causes acne, and is also going to remove sunspots. So with those two handpieces, you've really got everything you need, and then you just tailor it to what your client's skin concerns are. So for this lady who had a bit of live acne, but mainly acne scarring, I'd recommend basically obviously home products. So as standard, a glycolic wash, a product containing azelaic acid and some retinol. Obviously not limited to those, but those are something I would definitely include. As she would then have 3 to 6 treatments of an Illumi facial. So we're talking triacid peel, once over with collagen boosting, once over with a wavelength to pick up any issues she has on her skin. But for her, it would be basically killing the bacteria on her skin causing acne. Once her live acne is stable, which it was, I then moved her on to the skin resurfacing. So the fractionally ablative skin resurfacing. So this before and after picture is actually after just 3 sessions. She actually went on to have more, so her skin looked even more amazing, but somewhere between 3 to 6 sessions of fractionally ablative laser treatments. So her results were that she was acne-free. I did actually get an invite to her wedding, which was in Rhodes of all places. So being half Greek, I was absolutely gutted not to be able to make it, but my daughter had started school last September, so I couldn't go. But I was very chuffed. She was absolutely thrilled to bits. And without my amazing, equipment, I just wouldn't have been able to produce these kinds of results for her. So she was absolutely thrilled. So my second example of what I wanted to give you is this lady. So this particular lady didn't actually receive the complete Illumi facial. She received the CFT treatment I was doing years ago. But if someone like this came into you, this is what I would recommend, okay? So she was 49, she had photoaging, obviously telangiectasia, which is broken capillaries, thread veins, and large pores. So back then I was doing like a peel a week beforehand and then bringing her in to do a treatment. So the at-home product recommendation would include, but not limited to, a glycolic wash, retinol, and a hydrator. And then in clinic, I would recommend 3 to 6 Illumi facials. So once again, that's going once over with a 650 IPL handpiece, and then going over with a 585 nanometer handpiece, which is fantastic at coagulating vessels. And that's exactly what I used on her. So the results for her is that her capillaries are basically pretty much vanished. I mean, you can see from the photo, if it was up to me, I'd have liked to have done 1 more treatment on her. She had 4 sessions to get those results, but she was happy. She spent her life, spending money on concealer, which didn't actually stay on very well, because obviously the heat that comes with broken vessels, it was kind of, she'd have to reapply several times a day. So she was absolutely delighted. If it was up to me as a practitioner, I would love to have done another one, but she was happy, so that's where I stopped. But we could actually take this one further. So yeah, she was absolutely delighted. But the thing to note here as well, which I don't know if you can see from the photos, is her pores. It was amazing. Now, normally for pores in clinic, I would use my Resurface, my fractionally ablative skin resurfacing handpiece. But it's amazing what you can achieve with IPL, in fact, when it comes to pores. So she was absolutely delighted. So my third example was the lady you saw earlier. So it's a bit more information about her. So she was 55, okay. She had quite a lot of photo damage. So we're talking about UV, so sun damage, basically. She had skin dyschromia, which is basically uneven skin color across her face. She had quite a lot of textural issues. She had large pores, and her skin was just basically quite dull. Okay, so I put her on various different products, but for someone like this, as a minimum, I would put on a glycolic wash, a vitamin C, and a retinol. And for her, I did three. So she actually got these results after 1 to 2 treatments because I tailored it to her. So for the first treatment, I did a full Illumi facial. And for the second one, her results were so fantastic. I just had to pick out sort of a few spots that needed a second going over. But if you look at this photograph, apart from the actual irregular pigmentation, her skin, honestly, it was just amazing. So her pores have massively shrunk. Okay, now she didn't have laser skin resurfacing. So again, this is purely down to, you know, our IPL. I also used a laser on her as well. But her pores are just, I mean, her whole skin is just, it looks bright, it looks fresh. And it's worth noting as well, in my clinic, I have a mag lamp that mimics daylight. So these photographs were taken in exactly the same light. So there's no, you know, difference on the day or different lights being used. It's exactly the same. And you can see her skin is literally sort of brilliant. The brilliance in it and the luminosity is incredible. And again, you know, you can't achieve these kinds of results either with just, you know, injectables or products that deal with pigment. You really need sort of light energy based devices. So her results, obviously it drastically improved her skin in terms of how, you know, bright and refreshed it looked, her skin tone and texture, and her pores. So she was absolutely thrilled. So I keep talking about the devices. Now, any of you have seen any of my webinars before, I always like to bring a picture of my dearest grandpa on, who was just incredible. And the reason I just want to speak very briefly about him is that he was basically flew hurricanes in the war, and he was, you know, he was an RAF pilot in the Second World War. He was an astronomer, a chartered engineer. And after the war, he worked as an aircraft engineer. And basically, he instilled in me from a very young age to always buy the best possible sort of quality device or equipment, whether it's a lawnmower or anything at all. And I really thank him for that, because if it wasn't for the fact that this had been instilled in me, I think, apart from my lawnmower, which is still going, in terms of my business, you know, I wouldn't be getting these kinds of results if I hadn't invested in something like my Linton Lumina. You know, I just wouldn't be getting the same kinds of results. And I get approached by people all the time saying, you know, I'm just not getting, I've watched you on YouTube, etc. I'm not really getting these results. And it's because, you know, anyone can produce light, you know. And I often say to people, you know, LEDs, for example, you can sit under your Christmas lights, you're not going to get any skin rejuvenation effects. It's the quality of the light being produced and how it's delivered onto the skin. So yeah, I'm very grateful to him that he did instill this in me, because as a result of investing in great equipment, I have been able to produce these kinds of results. And it's actually the entire reason why I'm even talking to you today. You know, you are only as good as the results that you get. And in turn, that is your reputation and what you can actually do for people in terms of solving their problems. So my Linton Lumina IPL has something called dynamic reflex technology. It's actually, as I understand it, quite hard technology to replicate. And as a result, there are not many manufacturers in the world that are able to produce it. So I am in complete control over how I deliver those pulses and delays, which, if you're not familiar with lasers, may not make a lot of sense. But basically, it's if you can control how you deliver the energy, you're going to get. It's the difference between being able to coagulate that vessel, being able to get rid of that sunspot or not. So yeah, so how you invest is very important. So just quickly, I don't let anyone into what I call my circle of trust in terms of suppliers who doesn't share the same ethics as me. You know, they have to be really passionate, not just about, you know, selling me a piece of equipment, but then the aftercare as well, in terms of the clinical support. You know, if you're going to be new to this, or even if you've been doing it for a while, but you're thinking of getting another piece of equipment, you want to be able to have someone at the end of the phone at the end of an email who's going to be able to come back to you quite quickly with those questions, and also just that general support. The marketing's amazing. You know, when I first started, clients were coming to me via Yellow Pages. You know, now it's a completely different ball game. Everything's on a portal. You can download all your marketing support. So just having that all-round, you know, clinical support, a machine that's going to get you the results, people to show you how to market, you know, the results that you're getting as well, is all going to help you have that sort of winning formula for your clinic and your energy-based devices. So education is absolutely key. You know, the only reason I'm even talking to you today is because I've had access to amazing laser practitioners and people who have educated me for the last 17 years, you know, and I am where I am now thanks to that. You know, no one was born a laser expert. So the people who deliver your training and education is basically going to form who you are, and in turn the results that you can get. I would really urge anyone who doesn't currently have a level 4 or level 5 laser qualification to definitely get that. Please do not go online and do these online courses. Do make sure it's Ofqual registered, so it's an actual qualification, not sort of a meaningless piece of paper. No one can really do online courses. You do need to have some practical, a combination of online and practical application, and for it to be Ofqual registered. So I believe that training, you know, really does give you the edge over your competition and just makes you a better practitioner. You know, we all need to up our game and to be delivering really safe as well as effective treatments. And do join the BMLA. So the British Medical Laser Association is an absolutely fantastic organisation. They inform national policy, and during this last year of COVID, you know, if any of you have been already in aesthetics for a while and delivering sort of energy-based treatments like lasers and IPLs, they have been incredible at guiding us as to how to carry on with our businesses safely. And they also produce a fantastic document in terms of medications. So back in the day when people used to come to me for bespoke laser facials and they were on kind of a list of medications, quite often I'd have to turn them away. Now we actually have a concrete, you know, document that says, this is what you do for this medication and this is what you do for that medication. Yes, you can treat, or no, you can't, or no, you have to wait for a while. So do think about joining the BMLA, and do think about getting some qualifications if you don't have that. But also, if you are choosing a device like the ones I have from Linton, you will also get fantastic training, and it might even be me who comes to train you. So just quickly, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but if you think, well, actually, I can't afford a laser IPL, there are lots of different options. You can lease, you can rent, you can buy to rent. There are lots of options available out there. So if you do want to contact me after the webinar, this is my Instagram, also my Facebook and my YouTube tags. So do get in touch if I can be of any help. That is kind of a quick, brief overview, but essentially what I would love you to take away today is that if you know what your wavelengths are and what they do, it will not only empower you as to how to approach, you know, laser companies in terms of how to purchase equipment, but it will also, you'll be able to know what a piece of equipment can and can't do. So if you'd like any more information about my treatments or how I got on before and afters, do get in touch. But yeah, do invest wisely. As I say, I'm only here where I am today because of the equipment I have. And so, you know, Linton lasers have been a huge part of that. So thank you very much for watching. And if you do have any questions, I think Georgia is having a look at those.
Thank you very much, Kerry. That was super interesting and informative as always. If anyone does have any questions, please do pop them in either the Q&A or chat box on Zoom. I'm just going to have a little check on Facebook. Davi, I know you've asked if you can have a copy of the presentation. If you go onto Facebook on either Aesthetic Medicine or Professional Beauty, this webinar is being streamed live and it will be on there for a while. So you can always go back and re-watch. This webinar. Oh, sorry, that's me hearing myself talk again. I'm just going to have a quick check for questions on Facebook.
I feel that these webinars always, they fly by, and it's always it's a lot of information to sort of get across, but I'm hoping people kind of realize, okay, so if I want to get these kinds of results, I need a laser, I need IPL, and then once I know what they do, I can basically match it to my skin concerns, the client skin concerns.
Yeah, that's it. It's a lot of info. Robert has asked, have you used LED phototherapy to boost the effects of IPL? And if so, did you find it, I can never see this word, effective? Let's just go for that instead.
I do, so in my clinic, I do combine. So I always tag on 10 minutes. So the Illumifacial can and doesn't have to include IPL. You can get those results anyway, but I tend to use LED as well at the end of mine, just to kind of, not always, it just depends what people are presenting with. So if someone was coming in with acne, for example, I probably wouldn't add on the LED on the end as well. It's probably going to be a bit too much. But for other skin concerns, yeah, I do tend to tag on LED as well. Also, if anyone doesn't have lasers or IPLs at the moment, but just has LED, you know, the triacid peel is one of the very rare, to my knowledge, peels that you can combine with a light-based treatment, so it's safe to use in the same treatment. So it's brilliant to be able to use that.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that actually, about whether, you know, the kind of the safety profile of the peel when you're combining it with light-based.
Yes, you have to fully neutralize it before you take the peel off and then apply a light on the skin. But as long as it's fully neutralized, it's perfectly safe to do that. So the triacid peel is basically, it's got 10% glycolic, 5% malic, 4% tartaric acid, and it's got 1% salicylic as well. And it's absolutely fantastic.
So that kind of covers quite a broad range of indications, really, with that combination of acids, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Ones that are good for quite a few different things. So I don't think we've got any more questions, Kerry, but if anyone does want to contact, if anything comes to mind afterwards or when you're rewatching this, please do get in touch with Kerry directly. You can see on screen there, but on Instagram at Laser Skin Solutions UK, Laser Skin Solutions on Facebook, also on YouTube. And yeah, if there's anything you would like to hear Kerry sort of do in another webinar, or like she says, she does write for us occasionally as well. So if there are any topics that you'd like to see covered to do with kind of laser-based topics, then please do let us know.
I was going to say, Georgia, the June issue of Aesthetic Medicine was on light-based facials as well. Yeah. So I think people can get online now, can't they?
Yeah, and that article, that's a good point actually. I'm gonna pop a link to that article just in the chat box here, because it is, here we go. Yeah, because that might be, I know some people kind of find it easier to take in information when it's written. So if you pop in onto that link.
I think the thing as well that I wanted to convey today is that, you know, the sky is the limit. You know, if you have the right devices, that there's, you know, pretty much nothing, you know, you can't do. So, you know, obviously today we're talking about, you know, lasers and IPLs, but also, you know, so, you know, from September, I'm going to be getting a HIFU device. You know, the only thing that lasers and IPLs can't is sort of gels. But, you know, so I'm getting something called the Focus Dual, which is going to be amazing for, you know, gels and with radio frequency microneedling. So compared to the 80s, I mean, honestly, it's kind of funny because obviously when I go to a spa, you know, there's nothing I like better than a pamper. But to think that back in the 80s, the only professional treatments you could get really was, you know, sort of a clean and a sort of steam, and obviously and then Casey devices came out and things like that. But now, you know, when you get an hour of time, as anyone that's like me, I'm always spinning so many plates, you know, it has to count, and you want to be able to get those results that are worthy of that sort of Instagram selfie that, you know, doesn't require any filter. So I think it's a really exciting time for skin rejuvenation.
We have actually had another question come in. So someone has asked, this is a bit kind of general, but do you get better results with IPL? I'm wondering if they're saying perhaps compared to laser. But they say, I have a client who is Fitzpatrick 4 wanting skin rejuvenation. What equipment would you recommend?
It really depends how light or dark a skin type 4 they are, because it can vary so much. So basically the 650 wouldn't be an issue, because that doesn't, you know, pick up as much melanin as sort of the 585 handpiece. So I wouldn't do broken vessels on a skin type 4 if they're quite dark, but depending on sort of how dark they are or not, as is the case, you know, you could do some sunspots, but it would really depend. Skin type 4 is that kind of skin type where if it's skin type 5, that's, you know, that's easy kind of thing, you know, but I'd have to be able to sort of see them, because there's a massive range within each skin type.
Oh, sorry, I don't know what happened there. I don't know if you cut off a little bit. Okay, great. Well, thank you, Kerry. Let me just sort this out. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us for that. And for everyone for watching and asking your questions. And like I say, please do get in touch with Kerry directly or with us if there's anything else you'd like to hear talk about laser-wise. And yeah, thanks everyone for watching.
Thank you. Thanks, Georgia.
Thanks so much, Kerry.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.